the analysts have. By the way, one thing I've learned from betting that's really cool that I never thought of before is because on the desk you don't ever have to be wrong. You can give any take and there's not any outcome for you. A lot of people in CSGO on the desk, in my opinion, make the mistake of betting on the form of the last map when they make their prediction. Whereas I'm with you. If you ever have a scenario where like map 1 is the underdog's map pick and they win it because the other team's not good on it, but the next 2 maps are the 2 best teams for the favourite, I'm just saying the favourite's going to win these next 2 and win 2-1, mate. Like, I don't have to believe, but if they've lost that map, they're probably going to be down. Like, no, like, that's not the way series work. We've all seen a million matches that go that way and the underdog has the same story. I was up 1 map and then I won a pistol and I lost. Like, yeah, but look at the maps, mate. You were supposed to lose.
I think that the heroic example is a prime one when it comes to that. Like, they are the favorites. They're like 120, 125-ish against a team like maybe MIBR, right? And MIBR beats them on a map like Vertigo, let's say, that's the first map they pick. They won Vertigo. And Heroic wasn't good on Vertigo. They just lost 16-10. And the odds for Heroic to win is a jump from 120 to 175 or 160, 165. I'm taking that thing every day, right? Because, that's the value. That's the perfect value because Heroic is going to pick their map, which is, I don't know, Nuke or something. And they're going to, smash them. And then they're going to go into the third map. It's going to be 16-9, 16-10, and you get your money, right? Almost double one of your unit that you bet. So there's a lot of value there, I believe, in traditional sports and esports. And I think not just in CSGO, I think in Dota too. I think after the vetoes, the draft, I think you can immediately see changes a lot, and you can see like not just the outcome of the game, it also has the props bet like first tower, like who's going to take down the first tower, or who's going to take the Roshan first, or maybe not the first blood, but you can see that direction live inside the game.
You can see which lane's going to be ahead and have the push. Yeah, of course.
And it's going to be like, it has value. So I think that's something that people who are betting should really take a look at, those live bets, in sports and in esports. I think there is a lot of value there. So, but also always stick to your strategy, stick to your units. Don't like force your bankroll into the thing where you cannot afford some bets because you're going to lose all of your money. Don't hope for some sort of 100% return on investment. It's never going to happen. No matter how lucky you are, you're always going to end up, losing a couple of bets in a row and then winning a couple of bets in a row. It's just the way it goes, right?
Yes.
I have like this monthly, I'm keeping the stats of every bet I made in the past 6 months, and there are streaks like where I win like 8 out of 10 bets,
Sure.
But there are streaks where I lose like 5 or 6 in a row, and it can be a small odd, like a 155, 140, 160, and I still keep losing because some shit happened. Some guy got a fucking red card in the first half, and my bet went to shit, right? So I just leave it and just write down as a loss, and that's it, and you move on. At the end of the day, you're always gonna end up, if you do your research, if you do your things right, you're gonna end up in a plus. It can be a 5%. It can be 25%, just depending on the month and how hard you actually do these things, and not just watching the games, preparing those games, like looking at the stats, looking who is injured, looking who is playing, what the lineups are. The best thing is to place a bet right before the game for me, because I get to see the lineups. I see, for example, for Manchester United is, who is playing in the forward. Is it, the Fred and fucking Bruno Fernandes is the same thing? Then I'm not going to bet on Manchester United. Shit like that, I'm going to see if Ronaldo is playing, who is on the bench, is the goalkeeper, like, injured, or he's their first choice, or shit like that. Like, I'm always going to look at those things before I make any kind of bet, right? So I think that's one of the key things there, plus the other things that we mentioned when it comes to bankroll and unit size, and the not tilting and not playing like as a fan, and all of those things.
I've got some more questions. It's all good. Right, here's the thing. One thing I'll say now, because if you don't know, my style on my content especially is I'm very transparent. I just tell people what I'm doing, basically. So one thing I even do tell people, and Monty said this as well when we've done it, is when we do like bets on like a final, for example, if I'm saying like this team's going to win, we do make the bet way bigger because we're doing it as part of the market and basically the company there. What I'm trying to show you is I'm so confident that I'm going to put like a 2k bet that Vitality wins. Obviously that is terrible bankroll management. Don't do that if you're a fan, and I would even tell you that I'm just doing it for this reason and I can take the loss if I can, right? But the other thing I would ask you is this. One quick point of something you said that I just want to make sure fans get is when you say there, like say you had the bet on Heroic because they're the favourite, you got the right bet, but then as you say, like after map 1 the odds jump up, you don't think, oh well, they're still the favourites, so they're probably going, no, you can do another bet there. That's when that next bet becomes even better. That's the rare case where you do want to double down, because that's a separate bet now with better odds. So there's one thing to understand. But the other thing I want to ask was this, because this is a really confusing thing that I got lost in, especially myself, which is bet size. So the question goes like this. When you're doing the bet, because you were saying you should do the units, right? Should you ever think of factors like, well, it is an underdog, so I should do less here because like I'm not sure. If it's the favourite, should I do more to try and like max that? I'm going to win, but it's only going to be less, so I'm going to make more of it. How do you gauge that part?
Yes, I think if it's like a lower odd, then I think like, there is a, maybe like it should be 120, but it's 145 or 140, which doesn't happen all that often, but it happens. Maybe in that case, I would put 2 units, because I'm sure, because at the end of the day, I'm going to get 1 unit back roughly, as a profit, but I'm going to lose 2 units. So that's like, 2% of my bankroll, which is not that much. It's just, 2%. It's fine. So I do increase in that point sometimes not, depending on the game and how certain I am and what the information is that I have about the actual game, like who is injured, who is playing a striker, are they, what's the form of the team in the last, 5, are they playing at home, away, like who is the referee for that matter, if some sort of a crazy motherfucker who never, goes into war and just doesn't fucking do anything. He likes to hand yellow and red cards all the time, like that Spanish guy, I think it was Lajos, who is just handing fucking yellow cards everywhere. It's just things like that. I base my unit on that. But if I'm not sure, if there is like an underdog bet, but I'm still not sure, I would do half a unit. There is a thing where I bet on the draw sometimes. If there is like, let's say, take Bundesliga and actually not Bundesliga, let's say Calcio, and Salernitana is playing Spezia, right? And that's like, you don't know, you think it's going to be, the most likely is going to be the draw. I usually 1/3 of a unit I place on that. The odds could be 3.7 to 4, like 4 to 1, and then I put like 1/3 of a unit. If it doesn't happen, if it's some sort of a bullshit game where it ends up in a 1-0-0-1, right? I lose 1/3 of my unit, which is nothing, 1/3 of percent, but I can win, 4 times that if it actually comes to a draw. So I don't risk much, but I can bet I can win quite a bit if it comes to a draw. So it depends on the circumstances of the game and what information I can gather on the game, on these like sites and everything. That's, there's a lot of sites like Oddspedia, for example, like, I'm not to advertise them here or anything, right. But it's like I use that site a lot, and they have like all these head-to-head and informations and everything, and a bunch of others. Like I'm actually, what I'm doing a lot is I Google Translate a lot of interviews that I find on domestic, like, fucking Gazzetta dello Sport or some shit like that.
See if they got the little inside info or something.
Yeah, see if like they get like any kind of what the coach said, what the player said in the interview, like some shit that I can pick up maybe to decide like if the odds is worth taking, right? And then after that, if I see it fit, then I bet. If not, then I don't. But for example, yesterday.
Just to explain that to a fan, by the way, what he means there, again, think of it like poker. You're not playing against the casino. You're playing against the other players in poker. So the key thing Kassad's saying here is, obviously 99% of people, they aren't even doing research on basic stuff. So they're definitely not translating that article he's seen. So they don't have that info. So when they make their bet on the game, they might actually overbet the favourite. And maybe in this case, like the coach does say something like, we're bringing this guy back from injury. We're going to bring him in slowly on the second half. Like, if you knew that info, that might mean you see the edge. The value then in the bet is just from that info potentially.
Also, if they're playing like if the win is not important for them as much as the draw, like I would never bet on that. If the coach says something like that, like we're gonna look to defend our ground, something like that, we're gonna play a little bit conservative and looking for something like counterattacks or some shit like that. Just staying away from that shit immediately. So like there is a lot of things that you can do to maximize the chance of you actually winning a bet and ending up in a plus with when it comes to profit. So it's hard work like anything else.
Sure.
People say like gambling is not investing. I think it actually is.
It's the same strategy, like you said. It's the same concepts.
It's just the same concept, and I think you can do a lot of. You don't have to be super smart. You just need to be persistent in what you do. You need to do the research. You need to be hard working. You cannot sit on your ass and bet on fucking Manchester City to win against,
of course,
Wolverhampton on the odd 1.17 and place 50% of your stake and they play 1-1 and then you're just what the fuck happened.
Yes.
It's just no point in that. But betting is quite fun. it's quite fun for me, and I love doing it. Like I said, I have around roughly 200 bets a month, depending on the month. I think right now the NBA season is about to start in a couple of weeks, so it should be interesting there. I do a lot of NFL betting. I know Janko loves NFL too, so we talk a lot about it. So there's a lot of value in betting there. When it comes to esports, I haven't really looked all that much, but I see a lot of like these gambling sites offering different options there. I don't know if there is any. I asked you, maybe you know. Is there any like prop bets there? Like
they do, like for example, you can handicap the maps and the series that way. You can bet specific games. So for example, when you know the Veto, you can say they'll win 1 or 2 or 3. I even found recently, here's a little edge if you're an esports fan. So I actually did this during that game of Imperial versus that team Nouns that they almost lost to on map 1.
Oh yeah.
Well, I noticed, because in the Veto, the third map was like, I think it was like Vertigo or something that like Imperial never played, right? And the Nouns team was like in theory all right on that map. So since it looked like Nouns was going to win map 1 and then probably lose map 2 and go to map 3, I was able to go and look, wait a minute, the odds are still ridiculous that they're like the underdog on map 3. So I was going to make the bet. And I even found, this is an interesting detail, they're even doing it on esports sites where, because it didn't go to a game 3, it just refunded me the bet. Dude, that's a fucking insane angle. Like, if you can ever get something like that, I'm going to look for that again, mate, when it's like a live game like that. Like, wait a minute, like, you know, the underdog's going to win map 1 and then... Because in that scenario, if I don't even lose the bet, I actually was at least going to take it on the chin. Like, if they don't go to map 3, I look like an idiot, whatever. But the turn out, actually, it was refunded. So I think that's even an angle people haven't thought of. So yeah, you could do that one. The problem is they haven't got it as advanced on most of the sites yet, where, as you say, like in football, if people don't know, this years ago, people started doing the prop bets, like the throw-ins and the fucking yellow cards. That became the new thing, because obviously it isn't even as interesting to just be like winner only, because then you wait for the game to be won. Like, you want to have it, there's all the other action. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.